Got it totally wrong again. Where do people find good strategies for beginners so bored of losing all the time? I said, there is no beginner strategy. You have to put in the work. You have to understand and see the strategies for yourself by backtesting and getting the results before you trade. Do not trade until you have the skill. There is no beginner strategy. There are strategies that are easier than others, but all that means is the strategies that are easier means you need less parts to it, or less parts to the concept itself to place a trade. I'll give you a quick example. So ICT concepts, smart money concepts, and all that kind of stuff. You can have one strategy where you have several parts to it. Like, it needs to be at a certain time, at a certain level, break a certain level, take out liquidity, you need a fair value gap. And if it meets these at certain times, then, and it touches that fair value gap, then you take a trade and away you go. It could be parts where it's like that, where, there are several parts where you need to have or understand to be able to place a trade. That can be seen as a more complex strategy, just because it's got more parts. An easier strategy, and I'll show you one that I took here, yeah, is where you have a trend, it moves up, you have a pullback, price continues, and you expect price to come down to the previous high, test it, and then continue up. That's all you need is momentum, pullback, continuation. There are other parts in that in terms of, like, I can't see a shift in momentum in this part, the range can't go on too long, and when we push up, we need to push up with momentum rather than, a weak close. But they're smaller, obvious parts. Those are just parts, like in any strategy, where you take, providing you have the parts that you need and don't see parts that go against what you're wanting to trade, right? If I'm trading momentum to the upside, I can't see weakness. So it's small parts like that. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what strategy you choose. What matters is whether you have an understanding in what you are trading. So this is the Australian dollar versus the US dollar. Flip 6 into, oh, see, this is terrible. Saying this is just, my guy isn't going to be here in 6 months. Seeing stuff like this, my guy thinks he's the shit. He's done it, he's flipped it. He won't be here in 6 months. He'll lose all that money that he's just made, which is hilarious, because that's just what you do. The market will always humble you. You'll have beginner's luck and then you'll be humbled. What was I saying? So yeah, this is the Australian dollar versus the US dollar. I have looked over at least a year's worth of data, and now a lot more than that. I'd say, yeah, at least a year and a half, if not 2 years, where I have studied how each of these candles have moved and what each ones mean. I have also studied what a range looks like, this being a range here, and what momentum looks like, this being momentum here, and what a trend looks like on this pair. This is a trend here because it's moving in the upwards direction. Actually, this whole price is in an upwards trend right now. Bum, bum, bum. I also know that this pair moves correctively. It's not moving up in one leg. It's moved up, pulled back, moved up, pulled back, moved up, pulled back. Range here, moved up, range here, continued. I have an understanding of this pair. I know it very well. So when I learn a strategy or a concept, I know how to apply said concept to this pair. I understand when I'm told how a strategy works. I know what I need to see in this pair in order to take it. As I just went through this this trade here, I know that if price moved above this wick but closed below it, so this was a wick here and the body was below it, I wouldn't take that because it's broken through but not with a lot of momentum. However, because we pushed past above this wick and closed above, and we don't have a wick on this candle, or it's a very tiny one, I know that that's enough momentum to continue to the upside. And small bits like that is what makes all the difference. Because the amount of times you have a pullback or a range on this pair, because it's a corrective pair, it moves correctively. But like here, where was it? Oh, here even. So we move up with a lovely momentum. We pull back and don't see a shift at all. However, how do we continue? We push up but retrace. So we have this wick and we do not close above the high. We close below the high. So although it does continue moving up, I wouldn't take this because this isn't telling me it wants to continue with momentum. It's saying it might continue up, but there's also a chance it might not. It might range out. It might take me out before moving up. This is not high probability. And I know that because I have done the work. This is the work that you need to do. You need to put in the time understanding how a pair moves so you can apply the strategy to it. People think Forex is you come into the charts, you learn a strategy, and you go straight away, or you jump straight into the strategy. You learn what Forex is in terms of it's the difference between two currencies, what a pip is, what that actually means, how to measure it, bam, into the strategy. That's not how you do it. That's the trap that a lot of people fall into. And a lot of people don't realize if they don't do the work of learning how a pair moves, they actually learn that subconsciously by trying to grind out one strategy. There might be people that don't do the nitty-gritty part as in much detail, but what they'll do is they'll test a strategy enough that they subconsciously learn what they need to see. They subconsciously learn the pair characteristics or what each candlestick means because they understand when they need to see certain elements or what certain elements mean, or whether a trade is valid or not based on what the candlesticks are showing. And you just pick that up over time. So you can either do it that way or you do it my way, where you learn all that stuff first. You learn the candlestick stuff and the pair characteristic stuff first, and then you apply strategies to it. And it's much easier at that point to learn strategies. But there is no beginner strategy. There is no holy grail. This is the work that you need to put in. You need to have at least a year of understanding of how a pair moves. And then a year on top of that for the strategy itself. You need to backtest a year's worth of data or 100 results worth of data, whatever, I prefer to do a year, depending on the strategy. Some strategies don't get 100 results in a year because they're either far and few in between, or, they take, like a move like this doesn't happen very often. We had one at the beginning of the month, but that was 2-3 weeks ago. So, these happen not so frequently, but they give good returns. So it depends on the strategy, but at least a year's worth where you go through and have that data, that works wonders. But a big sample, a big collection of understanding, a year's worth of data, because price moves differently throughout the whole year. So right now we're in August, and over the summer period, so from the end of May through September, so that's June, July, August, a bit of September. So I'd say 4 months, price moves a lot more correctively. So this is why these trades don't happen very often, the continuation trades, because a lot of the time in the summer, price is moving correctively. For this pair anyway, Coming out of that, during the winter months, you get a lot more moves. But it means that throughout the year, you have these cycles where price is more trending or more corrective. So you need all that data to see what price looks like in these different market conditions, and the fact that these conditions can last some time. Momentum or a trend might last a few days, it might last a day, it might last a week. You might get a really long trend that lasts a couple of weeks, depending on how big the move is. But until you go and see this for yourself, you will not know. You won't have an understanding that how long a trend could last or what you should be seeing. And it's just the work that you put in, and that's what this means. You have to put in the work to understand how price moves. But I just wanted to come on and jump on that and explain that, because people get fed up of losing because they jump in too early. You're gonna take losses. You'll hear that from all the greats, all the people who trade, all the professional traders, all the amateur traders. Everyone will tell you losses are part of the game. The goal is to not take unnecessary losses and make sure that you limit your losses. A strategy is never going to be 100% perfect, but it means that it doesn't mean that and that just means that there are going to be losses, but that's part of the strategy. That's just probabilities of Forex playing out. I took this trade because it is highly probable it will play out. It doesn't mean it has to. It means it's more probable that it will play out than it won't play out. This might not play. This could have not played out. But I would have taken it again because it fits my plan and it looks great to me. I would have taken this every single time, regardless if I knew it wasn't going to play out or not, just because it fits my plan and it looks good. And that's the level you need to be at. When you start trading, you don't build up to that level. You do the work beforehand to have the confidence because you're competent enough to know that your strategy works. You place this could be your first trade that you place and it doesn't play out, but you need the confidence in yourself because you've done the work prior to say, although it didn't play out this time, I will still take it next time because I know over a large sample size, it will play out in my favor. That's where you need to be when you start. You don't start lacking competence, therefore lacking confidence, and then bashing yourself about trying to make it. You start after you've done the work, so you start competent enough that you have the confidence in yourself. You start when you're competent enough, so you have the confidence in yourself. That's when you start. But yeah, I just wanted to jump on and go through that because it's just the small mistakes in how people start. They get off on the wrong foot, and that sets the pace for the rest of their journey. So that's my 2 cents on that. Hope it helps. Any questions, please let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe to see more of this kind of content. I'll have the Trade Weekly recap coming through soon as well for last week, so from the 12th to the 16th of August 2024. But that's all from me. I hope you have a very good trading week, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.